This is Stage Left Planet. I'm your host, Warita Wimbush. And this episode is Lowered Expectations, Lack of Accountability from Don Lemon and Al Sharpton. That's right. Al Sharpton has now challenged the firing of Don Lemon, despite Lemon's long track record of misogynistic, antagonistic behavior toward his female colleagues, in particular those who he viewed to be his professional competition or competition in his profession. Let's talk about it. Now, first, let's go over Don Lemon's track record. And this is only a small number of incidents that I am citing so that you would get an understanding, have a grasp of the depth and severity of the situation that led to Lemon's firing at CNN. First, we'll discuss his antagonistic behavior toward his fellow co-anchor, Kyra Phillips, when he was on CNN's Live From. He antagonized Phillips and he was pulled off of the air by a producer for his behavior towards her. The behavior was so intensely harassing that he had to be pulled off the air. Next, after not getting an assignment in Iraq, for which Kiara Phillips was chosen over him, he left tore up pictures and notes on her desk, all over her desk. And then anonymously sent threatening text messages to her, which Human Resources at CNN traced back to Lemon. That's right, they traced back the text messages to Lemon. The first of which, or at least one of which, stated, "Now you crossed the line and you're going to pay for it." And as a penalty for his actions, a demotion he received was being moved to broadcasting news on the weekends. Now, other notable incidents that have occurred with Lemon, not that the others are any less significant, but people who the public knows well, Lemon has had the brash audacity, the flagrant arrogance, disrespect to attack were Nancy Grace, Soledad O'Brien, and Nikki Haley. First, about Nancy Grace, he openly mocked her on air simply because he didn't like a perspective from which she was coming. Then, absolutely egregious, he derided Soledad O'Brien by challenging her blackness when she was made host of the CNN docuseries Black in America. He challenged her blackness. It's trying to say that she wasn't black enough. And it's not like Don Lemon is the darkest brother on the planet. He himself is light skinned, and one could clearly see is not 100% black. Okay, especially as an African American, being well, an Afro American in this country, descended from slaves, many of which mixed with slave owners and other whites. Excuse me, I have to answer Windows. They want to update now while I'm broadcasting. Isn't this crazy? Now, Soledad is of Afro-Cuban heritage. Now, Lemon showed his ignorance by totally ignoring the fact that the African diaspora exists in this country, from which slaves were not just from which African slaves were not just sold solely here to the United States. They were sold across the globe in lots of places. And even prior to the Western transatlantic slave trade, the trading of African slaves started in the East with many Arab countries, as one can see, spoken of by Muhammad of the Islamic faith. Okay, which he referred to blacks as raisin heads, and his writings. See David Wood's X 17 Apologetics to learn more. Now, in Don Lemon's further ignorance, his further campaign tirade of ignorance, he also attacked Nikki Haley as being past her prime for political office. Now, honestly, that is utterly foolish. Now, personally, first I want to say many people came to his defense and saying that Nikki Haley attacked people who were like Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters, who have been in office. Ooh, especially like Dianne Feinstein, who have been in. They're career politicians, and they've been career politicians for longer than I've been alive. Okay, they've been career politicians for years. Okay, and they keep being reelected to office. Yet the state of the state of the lives of their constituents has not improved. The areas in which they represent have not improved on their watch, particularly with Maxine Waters and Pelosi. They have greatly, dramatically declined. Okay, so Don Lemon has a track record for basically targeting what some people would even consider easy prey, which is women. And this is not even an uncommon phenomenon these days, because this is just like men participating in women's sports simply because they say, "Oh, I feel like a woman." Oh, because they say they feel like a woman. They participate in sports, and then many of them take it too far, such as MMA fighter Fallon Fox. Fallon Fox says he enjoys beating women. One has to wonder, when will common sense prevail and some people, the woke in particular, realize, okay, yeah, a person may feel like they're transgender, but them feeling like they're transgender does not change the fact that there are nefarious people that want to engage in barbaric, brutal activities, violent behavior against women, and will go out of their way to have access to do it, legal access to do it. Many rapists will say they feel like they're a woman so they can go in private spaces that were meant for women so that they can attack women. Okay. Many of them do that. Many of them can do that. They may want access to children, where they say they want to go into spaces where children go. And in this situation, little girls go. And many people, just because all marginalized groups, I'll say it like this, all marginalized groups are not banded or united together just because they are marginalized. Okay. And so we have to practice common sense and say no. Like these drag shows. Okay, these drag shows are phenomenally ridiculous. What is also ridiculous is the taking away the rights of those human beings that are unborn just to make life easier for those who have been born and have made the choice to engage in activities that lead to them becoming pregnant or getting someone pregnant. Now, I'm not talking about rape victims and victims of abuse. I'm not discussing them because the percentage of them who may seek abortions or abortions may be best for them. I, and I'm personally, I am a proponent of all life matters. But for those who view a child becoming pregnant as too much for them to bear, I'm not referring to children who are raped and get pregnant. I'm not referring to adults or anybody who was forced into sex and they become pregnant. The percentage of them is extremely low and can be in their situation can be handled on an individual basis. You see, their situation can be handled on an individual basis. But for people who want abortion on demand anytime for any reason, hell no to all of y'all. Because you know what it's if you were a consenting person that got pregnant, that's your behind. And I'm not trying to lecture you or trying to put you down or condescend to you, but you have to take responsibility for your actions. And the child that you conceived while you were having fun or trying to appease some man or something like that, or get some from some woman, did not ask to be conceived. And it is your responsibility to at least bring them into the world and make certain that they have a home. Make certain that they have a home or with stable parents, and that's how do your best to do that. That's what you should do. But to just say, oh no, I don't want the responsibility of being a parent, I don't want to be tough. Tough, because nobody should be murdered. Nobody should be ripped from limb to limb. Nobody should enter the system of the neo-chattel slavery that is abortion, where you are your mother, where you are bought for death. Basically, your mother pays, sells you to the abortion. I call the abortion. I will call it the abortion industrial complex, medical industrial complex. Your body is you are killed, and your body you are killed. Your mother is charged to have you killed, and then the abortion clinics, especially by providers such as Planned Parenthood and Marie Stopes, they take your body part. They take your body and sell you, dice you up. Even may dice you up in the womb, but they try to keep you intact, even if it means letting you be born alive and just die so that they can harvest your organs, to harvest a baby's brain. They will cut they will induce the abortion, induce the abortion, deliver the baby alive, cut its face open while it is alive, and harvest that child's brain. What kind of monstrous, cold conscience could ever do that? Money means nothing when it comes to that. Money is, who cares about money? Who cares about career? Nobody deserves that, especially not an innocent developing baby. Cut all this stuff out talking about it's a fetus, because the word fetus mean baby. So sit with that. Okay. And unfortunately, we have people who co-sign on to the antics, or who co-sign on to the antics of folks with such depraved minds, who attack women and attack womanhood. They don't value womanhood whatsoever. And unfortunately, these people are public figures such as Al Sharpton, who instead of holding Don Lemon accountable for his actions, he is questioning the firing of Don Lemon as if Don Lemon's track record is not already out there in public. You see. This is what we're dealing with. This is why we have to fight against legitimate misogyny, not just women who trying to get some money, or are they angry with the man, or they just want their way and falsely accuse them of wrongdoing. No, we don't support that, but we must support we must support women who have truly been victimized. We must support all people who have truly been victimized. True victims, this is what we have to do. We must stand up for victims' rights, especially for those who aren't in a position to fight for themselves. Okay. So unfortunately, Al Sharpton, who calls himself a minister, though he lied about many things, particularly when he exploited Tawana Brawley to gain for his own political gain, to make a power move and all this type of thing. And he probably may have been getting money through NAN, National Action Network of his. Who knows? There were many people who watched him on the Morton Downey Jr. show discussed the attack on Tawana Brawley, and went around terrified of racism. And for younger viewers, for younger people who saw him not just on Morton Downey Jr., but on just the just on television, and in public, speaking about lying about Tawana Brawley and destroying the career of the police officers of which he accused, right? He sat there and lied through his teeth about that woman being attacked. Imagine the young children who heard of this, or the young black kids of all races who heard of it, and they were frightened out of their mind about racism. May have been frightened out of their mind and grew very distrustful of white people who may not have, may not even, just white people in general, which is bad for race relations. For somebody, it's one thing when a true act of racism occurs, but when you get somebody out there just lying for clout, how is Al Sharpton even still allowed to have a platform anywhere? How? How and why? Why is it that nobody pelts him with rotten tomatoes every time he runs with his podium and jumps out there trying to make a speech? The bullhorn ought to flip out of his hand, turn around, look at him and say, "Nope, you will not lie. You will not use me to tell your lies. I ain't saying none of that. Shut up," and then whop him across the head. But Al Sharpton is a pastor and he knows better yet. He has been a liar. He's been a liar. And he is shown time and again how he disrespects not only womanhood, he disrespects Black womanhood. He disrespects motherhood and black motherhood, and he has no respect for black children whatsoever. He's just a race pimp, a pimp who has found his niche and fear, pimping fear based on racism. That is what he does. Create these stories because no one, he supports abortion. Like Raphael Warnock, these people are false prophets, false pastors. They know God is adamantly against the harming of children. He is adamantly against abortion. Jesus said, if anybody hurts these little ones that come to me, he said this in Matthew. If I'm not, let me look. I'm about to look it up now so I can give you the exact scripture. Here it is. Matthew 18, 5 through 6 and verse 10. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. Now, you heard that right. In heaven, their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. Now, there are kids. I love children. There are children that seriously get on my nerves. They really do. But I don't harm them. I don't even cuss them out or nothing. Before I cuss them out, I will just look at them and let my eyes say to them, what is your problem? Why are you doing that? Knock it off. How many times I got to tell you not to do that? Now, if somebody's dog get loose in my yard or something like that, yeah, that dog finna get to work because some dogs will turn on you. They'll get the courage and get bold. You know, whereas all time before that you say, oh, go ahead, shoot. They go. They might get bold. You never know when they got rabies. So yeah, I'll run a dog off in a minute. And a cat to anything that don't belong in my territory, you know. If they don't belong in my territory, it's getting run off pretty much. But here's the thing. Al Sharpton knows better. Al Sharpton should know if he's read the Bible before. He should know Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Jeremiah chapter 1. He should know that. Let's look it up. He and Raphael Warnock. People are hyper focusing on the issues that don't really matter. Okay, they hyper focusing on that and not focusing enough on issues that do matter. And by the way, an ectopic pregnancy, a miscarriage, is not the same thing as an abortion whatsoever. And they can be induced. You don't have to walk around with a dead fetus in you because of the abortion laws. That is a lie. Okay, you don't have to walk around with a dead fetus inside of you. Let's see, Jeremiah. See, I know the scripture, but I want to read it exactly so that you. Oh, here we go. Now, God Himself tells Jeremiah 1, verse 5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Now, that's like we discussed two of many scriptures that are in the Bible that are against abortion and child abuse. Yes, we have. Okay, God even says children are a heritage unto the Lord. He says this in Psalms 127, 3 through 5. Excuse me. Lo, children are a heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. Now, that's the thing. So when you have children, even when you have a lot of, especially when you have a lot of children, those children are a blessing that you are responsible for, and you have to take care of them. You have to watch them. You can't let them go running loose all over everywhere and all over the neighborhood because you don't know what weirdo or creep is lurking about. You can't trust everybody around your children, neither with your children. You can't be where your kid at somebody's house and you don't really know that person well. You can't do that, okay? They can be up and down the street and all up in other folks' yard and are coming all up in going all up in other people's house, okay? Unless you know they are there and you all have asked those people, is it okay? And if they tell you no, them your kids, you responsible for them. Don't neglect them. Take care of them, love them, and nurture them. And do not up exalt uphold some spouse or whatever in favor. I put some, and when I say that, I mean don't neglect your children trying to appease a somebody you shacking with, your some kind of girlfriend or boyfriend, or neither. So even if that part, neither your husband or your wife, do not neglect, neither abuse your children to appease them. Okay, especially if you the type when your kids grow up and become successful and you see where they can help you and support you, you got your hand out wanting them to help you and support you and take care of you the way you should have took care of them. So be responsible. People like Al Sharpton and Raphael Warnock, they are on the payroll. Many of the politicians are on the payroll of organizations. Not just payroll, they receiving donations from organizations like Planned Parenthood. They are a eugenics organization that targeted Planned Parenthood. Started off as the American Birth Control League, founded by Margaret Sanger, and she made it her business to study and analyze basically black fecundity, black birth rates, because black people, she was working with the Negro Project, right? And she noticed how many children black people were having. And not only black people, but people who were poor, people who she considered as a eugenicist, people who she considered to be unfit, dysgenic to procreate. Okay. And she offered birth control to them as a way, as a sleight of hand trick to get them to stop reproducing, basically, or stop reproducing at the rate at which they did, because she figured that they weren't fit to reproduce, and that them and their progeny, their offspring, were ruining society. And it's crazy to me that black women would be on this abortion agenda promoting it, so when all you need to do is put a dime between your knees. If you aren't being raped and you just having sex and talking about it's my body, no, it's not your body. Once that baby come in it, it may be your body, but their body is not your body. It's in your body, and it was by your choice that that baby got in your body. And so you got no right to take away their life just because you made the choice to go and have relations and you got pregnant as a result. Okay. And again, I'm not trying to bash nobody or try it, like I have not had relations. Right. I'm not trying to do that at all. I'm just trying to save lives. Yeah, abortion is is the number one cause of death in the black community. It is not murder. It's not AIDS. It's not high blood pressure, heart disease, or cancer. It is not black on black crime. It is abortion, which is a black on black crime in the black community. Please, please, if you against racism, stop doing. You against racism, you against police brutality in particular, and you're against any kind of violence against black people because of their race, or violence against any group because of their race, right? If you against that, then just know that preborn human beings, because we all have to start somewhere. Nobody starts off in the womb as a full grown adult and walk out of their mama vagina, walk out of their mama vaginal canal with a job and money saved and a house and a car and just drive on no. Nobody does. Everybody has to start off developing from zygote to feed. It's the stages of mankind. Just like you got zygote fetus, no, get zygote embryo fetus, baby, and then you have toddlers and small children. Then you get the older children, the preteens and the teenagers and full grown adults. You see? It's the stages of human development. Okay. So so we have to be accountable, hold ourselves accountable, hold others accountable. This is how society works, okay? This is how society works. Protect your kids. Protect your kids. It's not all about appeasing them when you protecting them, because often protecting children, play this. Sometimes protecting children means that you tell them no. They can't have everything they want. You can't compensate for them lacking, because sometimes not having things will make you a better person than getting everything that you want, because it'll give you wisdom and full comprehension and understanding and knowledge. You'll be a more humane person, more understanding, caring, loving, and compassionate person for it, rather than just because things go a little more smoothly for you, or things going okay with you without a bump in the road, hardly, or if any, you thinking, oh, well, it must be something wrong with these other people. Because sometimes Satan will step in and make your path much easier and direct to get to hell. By letting you be caught up on your own hype, he will spoil you to death eternally. He will spoil you to your eternal death. So, that is this episode of Stage Left Planets. I'm your host, Warita Wimbush, and I dearly enjoy sharing this information with you. And focus on God.